Hello everyone, my name is Randhir Singh and I welcome you all to the online platform of StudyIQ IAS English. Friends, today I am going to discuss the questions of geography which were asked in 2025 prelims, right? So, some questions were very easy to solve, but there were some questions like in which three statements were mentioned. Among these three statements, one statement was very tricky. So what I'll try to do in this video, I'll make you understand that how to solve the tricky question and what you have to keep in mind while reading such questions which are very tricky and conceptual based. Let's start with our first question, which is question number 13, and this is set B, UPSC set B. Now, this question, as you can see, it contains three statements and it was a very tricky question. It was very tricky question. Many of you may, get difficulty while solving it, but I'll make it very easy for you. Let's start with our first statement. The first statement is scientific studies suggest that a shift is taking place in Earth's rotation and axis. Now, first of all, you have to see here. This is the key highlight. Which one of the following statement is correct? So you have to mention that which among these statements are correct or is correct, right? Now there was a study done in the year 2021 and this study was done by NASA Propulsion Laboratory. According to the findings of this laboratory, the scientists claimed that due to climate change, due to glacial melt and groundwater depletion, there is change in very slow, very gradual change in Earth's rotational axis. Do remember it. And this study was done in the year 2021. That because of climate change, there is shift in Earth's axis of rotation. So, my dear friends, here statement 1 is correct, 100% correct. Now, what is statement 2? Let me recall the mission sent by ISRO to study the star, our star, the only star of our solar system, that is Sun. And that mission was Aditya L1. Now, last year in June 2024, Aditya L1 exactly predicted the occurrence of solar flares. Now, it is a very important mission for us because you know that on the surface of Sun, there are huge explosions and during these explosions, huge or high energy is released, which we, call or either coronal mass ejection or solar flares. And these solar flares and coronal mass ejection, they are hitting our Earth's outer atmosphere, that is magnetosphere, and they are responsible for the damage of our satellite. They can even, due to these solar flares and your coronal mass ejection, you can witness auroras from tropical region, equator. So what is this statement? Now, solar flares and associated coronal mass ejection bombarded means they are striking with the Earth's outermost atmosphere, that is magnetosphere, with tremendous amount of energy. Is this statement correct? Yes, 100% correct. Now, what is statement number 3? The statement number 3 is, as the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. So now, there's a study which is done by IPCC on what? Your cryosphere. Let me show you the study. The study was entitled as, my dear friends, IPCC. What is IPCC? Interpanel Governmental on Climate Change. This study reported that the glacial melt will ultimately lead to a rise in sea level, that too in equatorial region. But this rise in sea level will also redistribute the mass of Earth right from pole to equator. And this redistribution of mass will change the Earth's inertia, means the Earth's moment of inertia, which ultimately will be responsible for the shift of Earth's axial rotation. So is statement 3 correct or wrong? Statement 3 is also right. Now, my dear friends, as we know that all these 3 statements are right, so we have to see very carefully what is written in the what options. Which one of the following statement is correct in respect of the above statements? Both statement second and third are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. No. Do you really think that the solar flare and coronal mass ejection is actually justifying the statement 1? No, my dear friends. So here the option, my dear friend, is B, that both statement second and third are correct, but only one of them explains statement 1. Which one explains statement 1? That is statement 3. So here the answer is B. I hope now you have clear understanding of this question, and I hope it became an example for you that how you are going to solve those questions which will be based on such pattern. Now moving towards another question. The second question, my dear friend. What? The second question. Please give me a moment. Here is the second question. India has joined the Minerals Security Partnership as a member. Now, first of all, you have to see what is written here. I have to mention the correct or incorrect option. Here is which of the statements given above are correct. So you have to identify which among the following statements are correct, right? So first statement is India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. This is absolutely correct. See, this Mineral Security Partnership was formed in the year 2022, and this organization was formed to reduce the dependency on China regarding what? Critical minerals, regarding what? Rare earth element, because majority of the countries, they are dependent on China for what? Supply chain of critical minerals. So as you know that China through these critical minerals also try to put pressure on other countries. Recent trade war between USA and China, where China has banned many critical minerals which were very important to run the economy of USA. So here, yes, absolutely, in the year 2022, this organization was formed and India joined it as a member in the year 2023. Now, my dear friends, India, second statement, listen very carefully. So statement 1 is correct. Second statement is India is a resource-rich country in all 30 critical minerals that has identified. So there is a ministry related to mines, right, which is called Ministry of Mines. So Ministry of Mines formed a committee, and the task that committee was given is to identify that how many minerals which are very important to run our economy we lack in production, we lack in reserve. So that committee, after thorough study, came out of with this report that India lacks 30 critical minerals. There are 30 critical minerals which India, either India is not producing them, or India is dependent on the foreign country for that specific minerals. So this statement is India is a resource rich country. No, India is not a resource rich country. So this statement second is incorrect, right? Now what is statement third? See, again, to strengthen ourselves, to make India resilient in critical minerals, what we did, we started doing R&D. We started collaborating with other countries. Actually, our motto, our objective was to reduce our dependency on China. For that, what we have did to bring private investors or to explore other countries, we did amendment in what? Your 2023, related to which act? Mines and Minerals Direction and Development and Regulation Act. So is this statement correct or wrong? It is absolutely correct. Here central government was given more power, right? Actually, central government was given exclusive power to what? to do auction related to what? Mining lease, right? So here statement 1 and statement 3 is correct. So here option C is absolutely right. Now let's move towards our another question. That is what it is, my dear friend, on world map. Very easy question, but again, I feel many of you, would get confused, while solving such question. So this is purely a world map. What is mentioned in the question? See, consider the following countries. All these countries are South American countries, right? All these countries are South American countries. Now, what is the question? Andes Mountain, which is the longest mountain range in the world. What? Which is the longest mountain range in the world, and it is also, an example of fold mountains. Now, the question is, Andes Mountain passes through how many of the above South American countries? So, for this, I always suggest, especially to the students who are very new in it, right, who just have started preparing for it, that first look at the map. This is very important. So this is South American continent. Here you can see that Venezuela, right, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, your Chile, Argentina, all these countries, from these countries Andes passes through these countries. Now Brazil, which is the largest South American country in terms of both population and area, Andes does not pass through what? Brazil and, my dear friends, Paraguay. So what is the answer here? Here what you have to do, you have to eliminate. Which country you are going to eliminate? One is, my dear friends, Brazil, and the second is Paraguay. Now how many countries are left? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the correct answer is only 4. Here C option is correct. Means the countries which are mentioned in this question, only there are 4 countries through which Andes mountains pass. Right? Now let's move towards our next question. Again, it is a world map. So what is the question? Consider the following water bodies. All these are water bodies. Lake Tanganyika, it is located in Africa continent, and it is the longest your lake in the world. Lengthwise I am telling, right? And Lake Tanganyika is a part of Great African Rift Valley. Now there is another lake, Lake Tonle Sap. It is in ASEAN nation, specifically in Cambodia. What? In Cambodia. Right? Now there is another lake, that is Patos Lagoon. It is situated in South Brazil. What? It is in South American country, South American continent, and is located in South Brazil. Now what is the question? Through how many of them the equator pass? See, Tanganyika lies to the south of what? Equator. Your Tonle Sap, which is the largest freshwater lake of Southeast Asia, it lies to the north of equator, and it is Patos Lagoon. It is very far away from the equator. So none of the lake, right? There is not a single lake through which equator pass. So the answer is D. Right, my dear friends? Now moving towards our next question. See, I also teach to current affairs students, right? I also take daily current affairs program in paid batch. On 15th January 2025, this year, I covered a news, right? And that news was related to what? Your National Turmeric Board. Exactly the pointers which I mentioned on that day, exactly those pointers are asked in this question. So what are these statements? Let's read it one by one. Consider the following statements about turmeric during the year 2022 to 2023, right? Means it is about the financial year 2022. First statement is India is the largest producer and exporter of turmeric in the world. This is very easy statement. So my dear friend, this statement is correct. Yes, there are more than 30 varieties, which we grow in India related to turmeric. Yes. Now, turmeric is a native crop of Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, as you know, it is very close to India. And the southern states, specifically Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, right, which lies to the south of Tropic of Cancer, these states have very favorable, soil climate to grow turmeric. And they are, the largest turmeric producing states in India. So what is the third statement? Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu are major producing states in India. So all the three statements are correct, my dear friends. Exactly all these pointers are mentioned in my current affair notes. You can even check it, right? So now the next question is, it is related to physical geography that you call, world geography. In world geography, there are many components like geomorphology, then climatology, then oceanography. In geomorphology, there is very important topic, that is the theories related to origin of continents and oceans, that how these continents and oceans were formed, and the first theory which tried to explain that how these continents, the present continents, they were formed, how these oceans were formed, was the name of that theory is continental drift theory. It was given by a German meteorologist, that is, his name is Alfred Wegener. So to prove his theory, Alfred Wegener gave many evidences. See, according to Alfred Wegener, all 7 continents which you see that they are very far away from each other. According to him, all these continents around 200 to 250 million years ago, all these continents were part of one huge landmass called Pangaea. And with passage of time, they got separated. First, this Pangaea broke down into 2 landmasses. One was called Pangaea, one was called Eurasia or Laurasia, and the southern part was called your Gondwana land. Now, India was part of Gondwana land. Now, to give evidence, what he did to prove his theory, he gave many evidences. He presented many evidences. One among them was what? Your similarity in the continents. What? Similarities in the continents. In the coastline, not continent, in the coastline. Like according to it, right? This is, my dear friend, what? Your South America, and this is your Africa. Got it? According to Alfred Wegener, this Gulf of Guinea part, this part was once attached to what? This eastern part of Brazilian coast. It is, according to him, it is similarly like a piece of wood. If you cut a piece of wood with your saw, and if you'll try to, again attach those broken pieces, you will attach it easily. Similarly, if you'll see the coastline, if you'll see the coastline of your Gulf of Guinea and the coastline of eastern Brazil, you can easily attach them. So what is the first statement? See, the belt of ancient rocks from Brazil coast, means eastern coast of Brazil, matches with those from Western Africa. Is this statement correct? Yes, 100% correct. This is the evidences of the phenomenon of continental drift. Now, what is second? The gold deposits of Ghana are derived from Brazil plateau. Now, Brazil is very rich in gold and diamond. Brazil is one of the largest gold producing country in the world, right? Now, those gold which you find in Ghana, they are derived from what? Brazil plateau, because there is no evidences of veins, no evidences of sources. There is no source of gold. You will see gold there, but there is no source of gold. Now, how then this gold, arrived or is found in the rocks of Ghana? Why? Because once it was attached to Brazil plateau. So second statement, it is also correct. Now what is the third statement? Now one more evidence which was given by Alfred Wegener, it was related to the sediments, and the sediments of same age which you will see in different continents. Now according to Alfred Wegener, the sediments which you see in India, right, the sediments of similar age you will find in different continents like Antarctic, yes, it is right. Now Africa, yes, South America, Australia, Madagascar. So statement third is also correct. Here you are going to choose option C, that all statements are correct. Now let's move to our another question. What is the question? Very beautiful question. The amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical region. Subtropical region, here he is trying to explain you that I am talking about desert. I am talking about trade winds offshore desert. Trade winds offshore desert. Don't you think that deserts are the main source of dust particle? Yes. In desert region, wind play a major role. What? Wind play a major role. There is what? Your lack of humidity. Humidity is very less there. There is no vegetation. There is no vegetation. See, vegetation means forests play a very important role in trapping PM 2.5 and PM 10 dust particles. When there is no vegetation, when air is very dry, there is no humidity, when there is high insulation, right? And it is almost all in a desiccating, your form, then 100% you will see that the dust particles will be more there. But in equatorial region, what you see? You witness every day there is rainfall. We call it afternoon rainfall, and it is also an example of convection rainfall. We all know that in equatorial region, vegetation is very dense. If vegetation is there, dust particle, obviously they will be trapped by what? This huge dense forest. So is statement 1 correct? The amount of dust particle in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate area than in equatorial and polar region. Yes, in polar region too, dust particle, is very less dust particle is very less. Now statement 2. What is statement 2? Subtropical and temperate areas have less dry winds. No, this is extreme statement, right? There are dry winds, right? But they are not less dry winds. So here what you are going to do, that statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Got it, my dear friends? Now let's move towards our another question. What it is? In January, in northern hemisphere, right? During northern hemisphere, the northern part, during winters, the northern part means the region which lies to the north of equator, it receives slanting rays. And the rays become more and more oblique when you move towards North Pole. So what it is saying, in January, in the northern hemisphere, isotherms bend equatorwards. Now where isotherm will bend? Where there will be more temperature. The region which is witnessing more temperature, you will see isotherm bending over that region. Now what is isotherm? Isotherm is an imaginary line. What? It is an imaginary line which joins those places having equal temperature, right? Now you know that our northern hemisphere is also known as land hemisphere. What? Our northern hemisphere is also known as land hemisphere, and land has low specific heat. What? Land has low specific heat. Means land, in comparison with what? Your water, it cools rapidly, it warms up rapidly. But in comparison to land, oceans, water, they have high specific heat. High specific heat means they require more time to heat up. They require more time to cool down. So what will happen during January? The landmass area, right? The landmass area, it will cool down very rapidly. But The region which is close towards equator, it will experience more temperature. So what you will see, where the temperature is high, isotherm will bend towards that region. So statement 1 is absolutely correct. But where the temperature is what? Low, right? Where the temperature is low, there what you will see that the isotherm will cross across the oceans. Now what is statement second? In January, the air over the ocean is warmer than that over the land mass in the northern hemisphere. Yes, air over the ocean is warmer. Why? Due to specific heat. Now land, it cools down rapidly. So land will cool down rapidly, and the air which will be in contact of that land, right? The air lying above that land, it will also cool down. So here statement second is also correct. So what is the answer? Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, but statement 2 explains statement 1. Exactly. Say now next question. In the context of water on rock, chalk is known as very permeable rock. What is the meaning of permeable? Permeable rocks mean those rocks from where through which water passes easily, right? If water finds it difficult to pass through the rock, it means that rock is less permeable. That rock has less porosity. So what is the statement? Listen very carefully. In the context of effect of water on rocks, chalk is known as a very permeable rock. Yes, it is right. Whereas clay is known as quite an impermeable or least permeable rock. Let us take an example of paddy. As you know that India is among the largest paddy producer in the world. Paddy, where you can grow paddy? Where there is clay soil. Where there is clay soil. See, clay soil has the, potential, has the capability to hold water. Water cannot percolate, water cannot pass through your clay soil. So here statement 1 is absolutely correct. Now chalk is porous. Yes, that's why water get absorbed. Statement 2 is also correct. Now what is statement 3? Clay is not at all porous. Who told you? See, the porosity in clay is less, but clay is porous. The porosity is low, but you can't say that clay is not at all porous. So this is again an extreme statement. So what will be the answer? The answer will be C. Option, correct option. Only one of the statements, 2nd and 3 is correct. That explains statement 1. This is very tricky question, my dear friend. Very, very tricky question. Let's move towards our next question. Our next question is, without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. My dear friend, as we all know that our Earth is surrounded on all sides by a transparent envelope? A transparent envelope which is known as atmosphere. It's a transparent envelope, isn't it? You can't say it. Transparent envelope. Yes. Pardon please. Envelope. Right? And it is called atmosphere. Now what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is basically air, and air is made up of many gases like nitrogen, like oxygen, like argon, like carbon dioxide. Now, what role atmosphere plays, in sustaining life? Let's take an example. How you see Earth without atmosphere? Earth will become barren land. It will become what? A barren land, a barren planet without atmosphere. Atmosphere plays an immense role in regulating the temperature of our Earth. Let's take an example of Mercury. Now Mercury lacks atmosphere, and due to absence of atmosphere, Mercury experiences extreme, or you can say that diurnal range of temperature. The face, the one side of Mercury, the one face of Mercury, which is actually facing the sun during, what? Your daytime, it will experience, imagine this is Mercury and this is the side of Mercury which is facing during daytime. This is the side of Mercury which is facing during daytime to what? Sun, or it is receiving the direct rays of sun. What happens here? Here the temperature of Mercury at this side will become very high. It will almost go more than 80 degree, 90 degree, even 100 degrees Celsius. But on the other side of what? Mercury, this face, which is very far away from what? Your sun, it will experience a temperature below freezing point. Because you know the source of heat for our atmosphere, for our planet is ultimately sun, right? Ultimately sun. So here you have to relate it with Earth. Now imagine Earth is without what? Your atmosphere, which helps in regulating the temperature of Earth. Now which gas in atmosphere helps in regulating the temperature of atmosphere by absorbing radiation? That is greenhouse gases, and among them the most important is carbon dioxide, isn't it? It is the most important gas, very, very important gas. So imagine the Earth without atmosphere. What will happen? The one side of the Earth will experience during daytime, it will experience extreme temperature, and the other side of the Earth, which is far away from the impact of insolation, it will experience what? Your freezing temperature below freezing point. So what is the statement? Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. Is it everywhere or only one side of the Earth? So statement 1 is incorrect, my dear friend. You have to find out which statement is correct. Are correct, right? Heat absorbed and trapped by atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature. I just cleared it. I mentioned it, that how atmosphere regulated. It is because of the greenhouse gases. Now statement 2 is correct. What is statement 3? Atmosphere's gases like carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases, are particularly good at absorbing and trapping radiation. Yes, my dear friends, this is correct. So how many statements are correct? Your 2 and 3. Here we will choose option D. Done. I hope this is very clear. See, next question. Next question is, consider the following countries. Again, very easy question. It is based on a very first topic which I teach, that is latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude. And with the help of these imaginary lines, we understand, what? The location of any area on Earth. We clearly understand how, time zones it changes. We also understand that which country or which place is ahead of UK, or which place, is lacking, or in comparison to timing, it lacks when we compare it with UK. Now, consider the following statements. How many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones? Now, suppose if one country, India, has only one time zone, but those countries who have, who has large east-west expansion, there you will find, many time zones, right? So, how many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones? Brazil has 4 time zones, not more than. So we will eliminate Brazil. New Zealand, we will eliminate New Zealand. Now, how many countries are left which have 4 time zones? UK because of overseas territories. Denmark because of overseas territories, and Australia because of overseas territories. So answer is C. Only 3 countries are there in this statement, in this question, having more than 4 time zones. Got it? Any problem? Any issue? Now, this is related to international date line. It is related to international date line. Now, what is the first statement? Listen carefully. Anadyr. Yeah, Anadyr, right? It is a part of Russia. It is located in East Russia, very close to Bering Strait, right? And Nome in Alaska. Nome in Alaska. Alaska is a state of USA. It is located to the what your east of Bering Strait. I'll show you the map, don't worry, are a few kilometers from each other. But when people are waking up at what your Anadyr and Nome and getting set for breakfast in these cities, it will be a different day. Yes, when you cross international day, you lose day or you gain day, isn't it? So when it is Monday in Anadyr, it is Tuesday in Nome. Now what you have to mention here, that UPSC is asking you that which among the following statement is correct. Let us understand with a very beautiful explanation, right? Very beautiful explanation. So, my dear friends, this is, listen very carefully, this is your North America continent, isn't it? And this is your Asia continent. This is your Asia continent. This is Kamchatka Peninsula. This is Sea of Okhotsk. And here you will find what? Anadyr. What? Anadyr. Got it? And here you will find what? Nome. They are between Bering Sea. What is this line? This zigzag line is international date line. Now this Anadyr from Nome is, the distance between these two cities is 80 kilometer. What? 80 kilometer. Now if you will come, suppose you are crossing international date line and you are going towards what? Anadyr. Now what is the time distance between Anadyr and international date line? That is 12 hours. And what is the time, distance between Nome and international date line? That is -9 hours. If you are going from international date line towards what? Your Anadyr, you are gaining 12 hours. This is the meaning of plus 12 hours. If you are going from international date line towards Alaska, you are losing -9 hours. Now so what you will see, the distance between Anadyr and Nome is basically 21 hours. So tell me, if there is Monday in Anadyr, what will be the time and what will be the day in what? Your Nome? It will be Sunday, not Tuesday. So my dear friends, here the answer is what? Only statement 1 is correct. Only statement 1 is correct. I hope you got it. I hope you got it. Now there are 2 questions left which are not mentioned in this PPT. I have a printed question paper. Now question number 99. What it is? Countries are mentioned and resources which are found in country. If the pair is correctly matched, you have to identify which pairs are correctly matched. Botswana, African country. Kimberley Plateau, very famous for gold and diamond. Absolutely correct. Chile. Recently I covered this newspaper, the relation between Chile and India. You know how many Gujaratis are living in Chile and how much they contribute in Chile's GDP. Chile has the longest coastline. It is the country which has one of the longest coastlines, not longest, one of the longest coastlines. And Chile is very famous for having deposits of, yes, lithium, having deposits of calcite. Now, third, Indonesia. Indonesia has one of the largest reserves of nickel. So all these 3 statements are correct, my dear friends. All these 3 statements are correct. Now let's move towards our last question of geography. What it is? Regions are mentioned and countries are mentioned. You have to pick up the correct option. Now, Mallorca. Where is Mallorca? Mallorca is not in Italy. It is, my dear friend, in Spain. Now, where is Normandy? Is it in Spain? No, it is what? A very famous city in France. Very, very famous for winemaking. Mediterranean type of climate. Even Mediterranean, all these cities, they witness Mediterranean type of climate. But in Normandy, your winemaking, viticulture is very famous. Right? Now, Sardinia and Sicily, 2 islands. They're part of what? Your Italy. So how many statements are correct? None. So here the answer is D. Answer is D. I hope, my dear friends, you enjoyed this geography MCQ series. Again, to the beginners, my advice to you is first go through world map. I will try to bring a series of world map on this channel only, and maybe in coming days I will cover some very important topics of geography on this platform, exclusively on this platform. Please share your experience of this video. Please share this video, like it, and do comment it, and specifically mention that in which topic of geography you don't have any clarity. I will bring it on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much once again. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat मेरे दोस्तों.